NFL free agency is officially here, and your Seattle Seahawks already made a big move with the signing of quarterback Sam Darnold. On this edition of Seattle Seahawks Today, we are going to hand out some grades for the first day of free agency, react to the signing of Sam Darnold, and also look ahead to what is on the horizon for John Schneider and the Hawks coming up in just a bit. Tyler Jones, your fearless leader, here with you. Thanks for joining us. Before we go any further in today's show, want to make sure you're subscribed to Seattle Seahawks Today. We were live for 6 hours this afternoon with free agency coverage. And we were live on Sunday for the DK trade. We were live on Friday for the Geno trade. And I got good news. We're going to be live again tomorrow and Wednesday as well. So lock us in. Subscribe now for free agency coverage. Let's get about 50 subs on today's video and help us reach our next milestone, 64,000 subscribers. If the Seahawks make a move, whether I'm here in the office or I'm at home at the Jones Zone, whatever it may be, we are going to bring you a video and react to every single thing that's happening with your Seattle Seahawks. Subscribe now. Turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. YouTube.com/SeahawksTV. Sam Darnold is headed to Seattle on a 3-year, $100.5 million deal that gives him $55 million guaranteed. And what a story for Sam Darnold of what he's been through to get to this point, to now enter this Seahawks team as the guy, to have the money to back him up, and a team behind him that believes in him, that is putting their money where their mouth is in Sam Darnold here. A Pro Bowler this past year. He was named the most improved player in the NFL. That's kind of the new version of a comeback player of the year of sorts. Began his career with the Jets. That didn't work out, went to the Panthers, then was the backup behind Brock Purdy in San Francisco, and had a breakout season last year with the Minnesota Vikings that included 35 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, over 4,300 yards, a 66% completion percentage, won a ton of games this year, and led the Vikings to the playoffs in what was expected to be a rebuilding year in Minnesota. My grade for this is an A-. I love the move to bring in Sam Darnold. The reason why I give it an A-, though, is because there's still an obvious question out there. Was last year an anomaly? Was it a one-hit wonder for Sam Darnold? I have reason to think that the version that we saw of Sam Darnold in 2024 is here to stay, because previously in his career, he was in bad situations with awful coaching staffs and not much talent around him. And now you come into this Seahawks organization with a stable organization, a very good coaching staff, a system that fits him, that Klint Kubiak is running there, and not to mention the price tag of what you got him for. Initially, it was reported by Adam Schefter that it was $110.5 million. He backtracked that, and it's actually $100 million. That works for me, all things considered, that you were able to pay Sam Darnold this money. And so far, when you look at free agency, the Hawks have done pretty decent to this point. Josh Jobe re-signed to a cheap contract. I'm hoping that he's a backup and not starting, but I do want him on my team. I like him at least as a depth piece. Jarran Reed is back, 3-year, $25 million deal. Ernest Jones, which was your biggest priority of all the free agency, you locked him up on Sunday with a 3-year, $33 million deal. But the only move you made today to this point was Sam Darnold. And for the day, I'm actually going to give this a B. The Darnold signing is an A-, but the day itself is a B because it feels incomplete to this point. Here we are, and as we were following every single signing on our live show, I was looking at offensive linemen in particular go left and right across the National Football League. Where are the linemen for Seattle at this point? And I know what some of you may be thinking right away. Well, you know, we're going to be looking at the draft, maybe some trades and all that, whatever it may be. Well, you have some problems that on your offensive line that you cannot waste time when it comes to developing. You need some immediate fixes. You're going to need some veterans to fill those gaps. And I'm starting to get a little concerned that after not signing any linemen so far to this point, what are you going to be left with at this juncture? So that's a concern where I'm at right now. So Darnold signing, great. I wish they would have done more today, though. Simple as that. Great, the first day of free agency for the Seattle Seahawks. What do you think of what John Schneider and company did for this first day? It is our pinned comment today. Weigh in, let us know. A, B, C, D, or F. You might get an ad break while the ads play and get your votes in. Let us know what your grade is. So the cap space number, we're still figuring this out. We're waiting to see what the exact capped hit is going to be for Sam Darnold in year one. There's a chance it could be just a cap hit based on how they move around the money of $15 to $20 million. But the worst case scenario, let's say that they take his entire first year salary on as a cap hit, then you have, in that worst case, still $33 million to spend over the coming days ahead. John, don't sit on your hands and knees. Show me the money and start spending this. Because when you get to the draft, and we'll talk about the draft coming up later, on average you need about $10 million when it comes to signing your draft picks. So that tells me that there is money sitting there available that needs to be spent. And what are they doing at this point in time? Now, one question that's been asked is the Sam Darnold versus Geno Smith comparison. And I am of the belief that Darnold, right now, is a better quarterback than Geno Smith. If you ask me, you got one game, who do I want as my starting quarterback under center for my team? I'm taking Darnold over Geno Smith every time. And the statistics back that up. He had a poor offensive line in Minnesota. If you count the playoffs, he got sacked more than Geno Smith did this past season. And yet his statistics right now, this past year, were better than any season Geno Smith has had. Granted, there's a couple other factors that are involved. Get to play with Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and all that. But even with that in mind, I'll still take Darnold over Geno Smith. He's younger. So you got younger at the position by quite a bit. You go from 34 years old to 27 years old. In his cost, not only did you get a younger and better quarterback, you got a QB that what they paid for him compared to what Geno's getting from the Las Vegas Raiders is 25% less in cost than Geno Smith. Oh, and one more for you. You also got a third-round pick in the Geno Smith trade. And some of y'all were complaining, all you got was a third-round pick. Well, he was your backup a couple years ago. You turned that into a third-round pick, got to have him as your starter for a couple years, and then you got a better, younger, cheaper quarterback in the process. I would say it worked out pretty well, this situation. Now, let's ask you, who's the better quarterback? Is it our new guy, Sam Darnold, or are you still having dreams at night about Geno Smith? Type Sam for Sam Darnold. Type Geno for Geno Smith. Weigh in and let us know. Get a great deal for Seahawks fans right now. Hoodies are on sale for up to 50% off at chatsports.com/Seahawks hoodies. Got men's and women's options, all sorts of different shapes and sizes for you. We have plenty that you're seeing on your screen and several others on our website, chatsports.com/Seahawks hoodie. 50% off, up to 50% off. And there's other Seahawks merchandise for you to check out as well. It's all in one place, chatsports.com/Seahawks hoodie. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. Now, while we are in the midst of NFL free agency, as we look forward to kind of the outlook for this offseason, based on how today has gone and the emphasis that Seattle has made in the last few days of acquiring draft capital, it would appear that the draft actually might end up being John's focus at this point in time, as far as building this roster goes. And you look at the draft picks Seattle now has, the updated draft order, 10 total picks, 18th overall. Then you get 2 second-round picks with the Steelers trade at 50 and 52, which I always find fascinating when you have picks close to each other, because then you get to play the game in your mind. All right, is this guy still going to be available a couple picks later, or can you potentially package them to move up? I mean, you get some interesting flexibility there. And then you get 2 third-round picks at 82 and 92, and those picks are only 10 picks from each other, so you get to kind of play that same mental game as well in that sense. You get a 4th-round pick at 137, and then you get a 5th-round pick at 173, and 2 6th-round picks at 187 and 212, and then your final pick is 236. And some of this stuff is still projections. It's based on comp picks that we anticipate Seattle getting, so it's not necessarily official just yet. But 10 picks in all. Now the pressure is on. We sit here today, and Seattle still has a big offensive line issue. It can be fixed, but will it be? That remains to be seen. But I'm a draft guy. I love college football. You guys know that about me. But I'll be the first to tell you, yes, you build your teams for the draft, but you can't solely depend on the draft. And with the cap space Seattle has, and with the needs that still should be addressed, I think that although the draft is a big deal, John cannot be sitting back and ignoring the money that's sitting there and the players that are out there to go fix some of these needs, because some of the things that you have to fix, you are not in a position to be waiting around and hope that you take a chance on somebody that develops. You need an immediate solution and answer, and we'll see what they potentially do. Who's a player the Seahawks should sign? Give me a player in the comments section that you'd like to see in Seattle when it's all said and done. For continuing Seahawks coverage, subscribe now to Seattle Seahawks Today. We will see you tomorrow for live free agency coverage right here on Seahawks Today, beginning at 10 a.m. Pacific time right here on the channel. We'll see you then.